Every little thing I do never seems enough for you. You don't want to lose it again, but I'm not like them. Baby, when you finally get to love somebody, guess what? It's gonna be me. Let's get this started right away. The bill in Florida is horrible. It's awful. It only exists to be homophobic. If you disagree with that, then get off this video right now and please never watch our content again. Now that Disney is real, on that note, Disney is also being very cowardly. Disney is, and Bob Chapek especially is deciding to not handle this the right way the first time, and then continue to take the coward's way out by not actually doing what the people who are being affected by this are actually asking is a problem. Okay. On that note, let's talk about why the new Pixar movie is somehow controversial just because there's a promotional image of the main character doing this. So let's just talk about the positives. Pixar's got a new movie out, Turning Red.
Always a positive when Pixar has a new movie out, and especially this movie, which we have been waiting a very long time to see, specifically because of a little dumpling boy.
So a few years back, about
5 years.
5 years back, on the front of The Incredibles 2, there was a short film called Bow. And it is probably one of the greatest Pixar short films in the last 10 years, at least.
Yeah.
It's the kind of movie that makes me... It's the kind of short film that makes me cry every single time I see it. It's beautiful, it's adorable, and it clearly comes from a very personal place for its director, Domi Shi.
And the second that short film ended, we looked at the credits and we saw the name Domi Shi, and we were like, we're looking out for her because she's gonna get a feature, and we're gonna want to be there to see it. And so about 2 years ago, we found out that her feature had a name and a plot, and it sounded amazing. Turning Red, a story about a girl who has some kind of magical powers wakes up to find herself turned into a red panda. And from the first look and the plot synopsis, we were given the idea that, oh my god, this is a very Ghibli-esque story. Yes, and because once again, as we said in the Luca video, Pixar is clearly trying to move into a more Ghibli, is clearly moving into stuff, into the kind of territory of films that would be feel right at home in the Studio Ghibli lexicon.
So this one came out, and so the trailers for this one came out, and it still looked amazing. The character designs are adorable. The plot seems very, very good. Seems very simple. It's good. I like how the plot looks. I like the aesthetic because the rounder character designs that are very reminiscent of Studio Ghibli's early work, particularly My Neighbor Totoro, is very aesthetically pleasing. The plot line that seems like a combination of Teen Wolf and Fruits Basket is so good.
But about a month ago, though, some dumbasses on the internet started losing their minds over CalArts Style once again. Which, by the way, if you use that term unironically, fuck you.
So, here's the thing: CalArts Style is a term coined by John K. The creator of Ren and Stimpy, for the first season and a half until he couldn't turn anything in on time, and he was also impossible to work with. So,
but also he has recently been outed as a child rapist, so he can go fuck himself too.
Anyway, remember this is a review for a Pixar movie.
We're burning bridges today, folks. Get ready.
Anyway, they complained about CalArts Style. They were like, Pixar's gone downhill and everything like that. Considering the fact that these are guys that's a lot of animation people, a lot of big fans of animation and everything like that, really liked what they were seeing, and we liked what we were seeing, and we like many others were just thinking,
No, it's Ghibli. It looks like
it's a very unique style. Like I see touches of Aardman in there too.
it looks very good. It looks good. It's different. It's somewhat different from every other Pixar movie, and the reason that it looks and everything that Pixar has put out in the last few years looks different. There hasn't been a standard Pixar model in years.
However, this one looks closer to what was the standard Pixar model than Pixar's last release, Luca. I wonder why people would be pissed off about a movie written and directed by a Chinese woman, a Chinese Canadian woman, over another film written and directed by a white Italian American man.
Now, granted, a lot of the people who complain probably don't even realize that the movie's directed by a woman because they're not the kinds of people who pay attention to who the directors of animated movies are.
However, they probably also. However, there's the fact that this movie
The protagonist is a girl who likes boy bands and her friends and dancing and
Tamagotchis, and it's the early 2000s. This movie takes place in the early 2000s, in case you can't tell.
So basically, we probably should actually, and also at least one reviewer has actually had his review taken down because he seems to, for some reason, because somehow a guy who's been a film critic for long enough to be an editor, so long enough to be a chief film critic at Cinema Blend couldn't put himself in the shoes of the character the filmmaker and everything like that. Had to actually judge the movie based on not shared on any kind of not specific shared experiences.
He certainly didn't help, but he certainly didn't help himself by basically making that the part of the review that he quoted when he tweeted out the review.
Yeah. But anyway, let's actually talk about the positives of this movie. So this movie is like we said, Domi Shi, the director of Bao, is directing this. She's acting this. And as such, it's a very personal story for her because it is quite clearly based on her life in so many ways. It's for example, Domi Shi is Canadian. She's Canadian, and so the lead character is Canadian.
And Domi Shi has also and it's also been stated that several moments in the film were directly taken from her teenage years growing up in Toronto.
Also around here we have got Sandra Oh coming in to play our main protagonist, Agnes Mother, Ming, who seems to be very much. In the first trailer, it seemed like she was going to be very much somewhat of an obstacle for the character of Maylin, but in the recent promos, it seems that she's actually she's more of a positive presence in her life. The obstacle is more the fact that this red panda enchantments. We don't know if it's actually technically a curse in the movie.
We gotta actually sit down and watch the movie. So
yeah. But also on the note of the movie, Mom, Phineas and Billy are writing a Pixar soundtrack.
Yes, we have Billie Eilish and Phineas O'Connell writing 3 songs for the boy band 4Town.
Even though there's 5 of them.
Yes.
We're aware that's already a joke in the movie.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen the movie yet. The movie doesn't come out till tomorrow from the time we're recording this.
Inside Baseball, we're recording this intro a full day before we actually see the movie.
So that we can both be in the car while we're talking about it on our way to get...
On our way.
It's streaming.
It's streaming. It's going to start when we start it.
But anyway, yeah, 4Town, the boy band inside the universe of Turning Red is basically the best kind of Backstreet Boys in sync 98 degrees crossover thing. So of course they put together this. So of course for it they made this in-universe, non-threatening, racially diverse group of boys, the same kind of way that you would see in the 90s and early 2000s. We're not threatening.
We're not threatening, yo.
But yeah, that's the score. That's the point music of it. Speaking of music, Ludwig Göransson in his first role as scoring an animated movie is set to score or Turning Red.
Yes.
Now I'm going to be more clear on this. He has worked on an animated movie before, but he did not write the score because he was a music producer on Trolls 2 last year.
Yeah.
2 years ago?
2 years ago. Jesus Christ! The time has become nothingness.
And as time goes, and yeah, Turning Red looks good. And also, I'd like to point out that that Maylin's deadpan friend Priya, I'm calling it right now. She's going to get some of the best jokes, just because the first time we saw her in the trailer, and she was all deadpan and headpan and everything like that. I'm like, you're gonna get the best jokes, and I'm gonna love it.
But probably the biggest complaint we have going into this movie is that we don't get to see it in a theater.
We understand what's going on. We understand that maybe this is a sign that Disney has more faith in Pixar because Pixar is kind of still bulletproof. They've got Disney Plus is a big streaming service with a lot of people paying attention to it. And Encanto didn't really get legs until it got put on Disney Plus like a month later. So. But that's probably it. But
at the same time, Omicron has started to slow. The spread has started to slow. We're not going to be
the guys to call that the pandemic is over because it's clearly still going on.
It's not over. It's not going to be over we're still probably not out of the woods for a little while. We're still probably not going to be out of the woods for a little while.
So yeah, it's a little disappointing that we're not going to be able to see this in an actual movie theater. So, hopefully Lightyear can stand the test and stay in movie theaters, or at least a hybrid option.
Yeah, because I'll get into why I personally will want Lightyear to be in theaters when we actually get to covering it in a couple months.
But for right now, Turning Red hopefully will be a good movie. I mean, we know it's going to be a good movie because it's another Pixar movie. It's from a director who proved herself really worthy with her first short film. I guess the only question is, where is it going to rank in the Pixar pantheon, and will it be one of those movies that just makes us cry? Probably.
But that's all we got to say right now, guys. We've been talking for an extremely long time, but we're gonna give you guys our thoughts on Turning Red after our longest jump to date.
Woo, here we go. The next day. Sometimes recording an entire day in advance means that the news that you report on in the first half is almost completely gone by the second half,
or at least less awful.
Yeah. So anyway, how was the movie? Oh my god, so good.
It's probably one of the best movies Pixar's made in the last 5 years.
So
it feels really like one of the more most original things they put out in forever, and it's so different and new. There's so much we can say about it, and we're probably going to in a second.
So first of all, it's probably the most cartoony Pixar movie ever. Like, just so deep into the cartoony humor. Like, they're stretching, they're bending, they're running around, they're playing with jump cuts and everything like that. It's so much fun on top of everything.
They're doing what a lot of Western cartoons have been doing in the last couple of years, which I like to call the kawaii face, because that's what they call it in anime. So you can tell that a lot of that anime influence into Western animation is starting to bleed into the animation film industry.
And then of course there's the fact that for like the first 2 acts, I could compare this to The Emperor's New Groove tonally, and then for the third act, it's a Marvel movie. Basically,
yeah.
It's a modern blockbuster. They kind of need the big action.
It doesn't feel like out of place or anything, where it just kind of suddenly, holy crap! There's this big sequence involving a lot of different pieces.
And it's ridiculously funny, ridiculously heartfelt. I honestly thought I was going to be at the point that I thought was like the big cry moment. I'm like, am I actually not going to cry at this movie? But then like 3 times in the same 20 minute, in like the same 15-minute stretch.
Yeah, but
it is emotionally, it's heartfelt, and also no diss to a certain reviewer who we're not critic who we talked about in the first half, but we're not gonna even say his name for him. But how the fuck can you not relate to that? To there is a moment in this movie where it's like, how the fuck do you not relate to that?
Yeah,
Like we've all had a moment at least similar to that.
and we're not going to specify because if we do, it'll be a spoiler. But also because then every potential moment of that in the movie actually fits, so it doesn't matter.
There is a moment. Everybody has them. It's a story about a relation growing away from your parents, which is something that a lot of people can relate to, and it's especially a big deal in this movie.
And one of my, and also Ludwig Göransson's score is fantastic. Love hearing that every single time I hear it, and love seeing his name on credits all the time.
Yeah, and Phineas and Billie Eilish just kind of killed it with the songs. Very early 2000s boy band pop.
Yeah, for two people who were super young for the boy band craze, it's kind of amazing how dead on they got the style.
Especially since they also still feel like Billie Eilish songs that have kind of the feel of Billie Eilish songs.
And yeah, it's so good. Also, Minnesota legend James Hong shows up for a quick cameo.
Yes, and the character designs are so good. Like they're very round and different, and they move so well, and
because of the movement, it's an eclectic comedic movie that just kind of jumps from place to place. It's awesome.
Yeah,
I really liked this. It's great. I love that it's on Disney Plus, so we can watch it again and again and again.
Yeah. But again, that's the big problem with this, is that we can't see it in the theater. We can't see it in the theater because it's only playing in 3 theaters, period, total in the U.S.
Huh. Yeah, but yeah, Turning Red is great. Now that our consciousness can be a little clearer to watch stuff on Disney Plus again, and we highly recommend seeing it. And it's anything else?
I can't think of anything. It's just kind of going to be this is just going to be another shorter one, because these at-home videos are always shorter because we don't have an entire car ride to try to space this crap out.
Yeah, and it's also it's hard to make it clearer that you like a movie when the movie did everything it wanted to right.
Yeah.
So anyway, be sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to tune in next time when things are about to get out of hand. Bye.